Many of the written works covered in this podcast are older and contain dated language that is problematic by today's standards. This episode, in particular, mentions sexual assault numerous times, as well as incest and bestiality. As hosts, we strive to have fun and educational discussions about the books we cover and do not condone any politically incorrect terms or dated ideology. We strive to discuss these issues in ways that will not alienate or suppress others, but will be covering themes that may not be suitable for children. Also, cuss words are a part of our regular vocabulary and drinks will be had, so keep that in mind if you are sensitive to liquored up loudmouths. Welcome to Liquor and Literature. We are a podcast, a book club, and a happy hour. My name is Lauren.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Sam.
Yeah, Sam Ma. That was nice. I like that.
I do it different every single time.
You do. I love it. Keeping things going. Different. Okay, you distracted me. So normally we have normal episodes with a book, but sometimes, every now and then, we do these things called teenysodes. We named them teenysodes because we thought that they were going to be smaller episodes, but alas, they are not. They're like the same length as a normal episode, but
it's all a lie.
It is less work for us because a teeny-sode entails us diving into smaller stories from authors, or we thought about doing child books, but we haven't done children's books yet, but
we kind of did.
It's on the forefront.
We kind of did that.
Grimm's fairy tales could have been children-y, but nah.
It was mostly to, threaten children to behave.
Yes. They were more grim than happy. But anyway, so we're doing a teeny-sode again this month, and teeny-sodes are where we pick, like I said, shorter stories of a certain genre to talk about. So this month we are doing Greek mythology.
I'm pretty stoked about it.
So yeah, with that, why don't we kick off the drink pairing for this month, Sam?
Oh dear. Okay.
It's so shiny.
Oh dear.
God.
So oh gods.
Oh gods.
Oh gods.
So this is another one that I created myself because I tried to go with like a traditional Greek liquor or spirit, and well, I'm kind of limited in Missouri from what I could find. Actually, what I did find was very last minute, and it's called Metaxa, and it's 5 stars. So it's like a brandy, but they can't call it a brandy. It's called a spirit.
Why can't they call it a brandy?
Oh, girl, you gonna make me look that up because I forgot.
It's probably like a processing thing.
Yeah, I think it's like a distribution thing and the way it's made.
Where it's made at or whatever.
I can't remember for sure.
Gotcha.
But it's an interesting taste. It's not really super strong like a traditional brandy, in my opinion. And it's got some lovely notes, flavor notes.
Is that what's in our shot glass here?
Yes. So it's made out of sweet muscat wine, fine wine distillates, and Mediterranean herbs and botanicals.
Most of that's my language, so for it so far.
It gave me some things to think about, for
some
sure.
Feelings.
Yeah. The flavor profile of Metaxa is citrus fruit, stone fruit, dried fruit, which is really what I pick up. It's floral, vanilla, toffee, and then spice. So to me, I get the dried fruit and the spice.
Yeah.
You sense, apparently, apricot, orange blossom, and rose petals. I can kind of get the rose petals a little bit too. But that's a pretty traditional ingredient in a lot of things in this kind of area. And Turkey and the Middle East, rose petals are used a lot. And then it says you can taste floral notes, vanilla, and white raisins, which would be that dried fruit.
White raisins.
I just sniffed this, and I think it's going to make my toes curl. I don't know that I'm going to like it.
Not good. It smells like really...
It smells like old person.
It's... To me, it smells like like raisins.
No offense to old people.
It smells like raisins drenched in a lot of vanilla extract that's been fermented.
Oh, so old people.
White diamonds.
What is
More
that?
exactly, old people.
Who needs
like,
white diamonds when
leather
we got
shoes
this?
that old people have been wearing. I don't know.
Who needs white diamonds when you have old raisins?
So before we actually get to the cocktail, which we've already had, so
Several.
Quite
Again,
pleasant.
sorry, old folks. We love you.
I'm making us all take a half of a shot, basically, of this straight because I want them to feel the pain that I also had to.
Are we doing this one at a time?
We should do it all together.
No, I think we should do it one at a time.
Oh, okay.
So that we can hear the reactions
Yeah.
individually.
Who wants to go first?
Go ahead,
Why
Amber.
is everybody fucking looking at me? Because I suggested it?
You're up first.
Because I'm the one who's weak-tongued.
Weak tongue.
That's weird.
It's not as bad as it.
She couldn't even finish it.
It's the gift that keeps giving. Weak-tongued bitch.
I would count that around the town.
Yeah.
Amber the weak-tongued bitch.
The weak-tongued bitch.
It's a good thing you're married.
Yeah.
It is. Diddly doodle.
You don't gotta impress anyone anymore.
Thoughts?
Thoughts on that?
Nope. Don't need to do. I don't want to dog on anything. So, it goes great in the drink we had today, by itself.
Out of 5 stars.
2, because it's not as bad as that tequila I couldn't drink and cried about.
That's fair.
Bringing back old trauma.
I cried at the bar for like 10 minutes.
So that's better than the tequila.
That's better than that.
That's fair. That's
Nice.
good.
Yeah,
All right.
that's quite a few steps above that experience. That was like a 0 out of 5.
0
This
out of
is
5.
a 2 or 1. What did I give it?
You
2.
said 2.
I said
Mhm.
okay. So that was a 0 out of 5. This is a 2. Better, a little.
Okay, so before I take the shot, clarification: is it a liquor or a liqueur? Because that makes a difference, shot wise.
To be honest, it just
It's
says
alcohol.
Spirit.
Spirit.
It's an
it's
alcohol.
a liqueur.
Yeah, so
Greek
liqueur,
specialty liqueur.
You don't normally take shots of liqueurs,
Mm.
so it's got to be more thick. I'm thinking.
It was pretty thick. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking ahead of time what it's gonna taste like. It's kind of like a bronzy
Yeah.
brown. But yeah,
Amber, if you will.
an amber. It's an amber, like amber.
Whoa.
All right, I'm gonna take it. I taste the raisin. Woo! I taste the raisin.
Yeah, you really get that dried fruit,
Woo!
I think.
Yeah, kind of pruny.
Does it feel like
Old
the?
people. I'm saying. Wow, my eyes watered.
Does it feel like the California raisins are like doing the can in your mouth right now?
A little bit.
They're
Okay.
just twerking in there.
They're
Yeah.
twerking in there. I mean, it wasn't bad.
I think it smells worse than it tastes.
I'm saying, like,
It does smell worse than it tastes.
Yeah.
it's way better than Malort. That's for goddamn sure.
Fuck yeah, it is.
Malort is on a whole different level. So I would take
don't know what that
another
is.
shot of this over Malort. Unless I really want to get fucked up, then I would take a shot of Malort. But
Stars.
ooh, out of 5,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give it a 3.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a 3.
All right. All right, here we go. This is the second time I've had to do this to myself. To me, it's like raisiny, pruny.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's got this like sweet middle that's like almost vanilla-y, brown sugary, which I guess is probably the toffee
Yeah.
and the vanilla. But it has a little bit of heat to it, but it's pretty smooth. But not something I'd want to drink neat. I would say probably 3 because I can handle it. It doesn't make me feel like I'm on fire, but I'm not in love with it.
Yeah. It's not gonna fuck you up,
No.
but it'll get you a little loosey-goosey.
Yeah, it was funny because when I was making up this cocktail, I messaged our group chat and was like, I don't know if I like this or if it's just because I'm drunk, because I had like 5 different variations of this drink. So it will get you there if you need to.
Yeah.
There's actually other stars. There's like a 7 and I believe a 12. And then they make other types of spirits as well. So, and it's just how long it's been fermented, basically.
Oh, okay. So
or been sitting in.
more it's been fermented, the stronger the alcohol content, I'm guessing.
Probably.
And the flavor.
The flavor would be different, yeah. So yeah, so that's Metaxa, and I think, it could definitely have gone a lot worse.
It's better than what's that one? Uzo. Yeah, not orzo. That's a pasta.
Yeah,
Uzo I've had before, and it's
I refuse to do
not
Uzo because we
great.
just did freaking Jaeger.
Yeah.
And I was
if
like,
you would have made us suffer through
to do that
again, I would have been like, nope, I'm sorry.
No, I was trying to get Mastilla, I think is what it is, which is also a liqueur. And it's kind of neat and interesting sounding, which is why I wanted it. But it's made from a resin from a tree that is grown on an island in Greece. And it's the only place in the world that this tree actually creates resin. You can grow the tree elsewhere, but it doesn't create the resin. It's just that terroir. So like, whatever is in the ground and the water and stuff there, it allows it to do that, and they make the liqueur out of the resin. But I couldn't.
Very interesting.
I didn't get up to St. Louis to try and find it.
Seems like it's harder to find.
Yeah,
a little bit more specific.
Anyway,
so the cocktail I created, I'm kind of not sure if I want to call it because my goddess that I chose today is Hecate. So I was going to call it either Hecate's Garden or Hecate's Apothecary, because she's also associated with herbs and plants and things.
Ooh, I like that.
So I think maybe Hecate's Garden is actually probably what I'll go with. So the recipe for this. It's 1 ounce of the Metaxa 5 stars, 3/4 of an ounce of Italicus Rosalio di Bergamoto liqueur, which is another fun liqueur that I just recently found and I'm in love with. And it's just an Italian bergamot liqueur, which, if you don't know, bergamot is a citrus type fruit. It's a green peeled like orange. If you drink Earl Grey tea, that's what it's flavored with.
Oh, I love Earl Grey tea. Whoa, I can't talk.
So
Earl Grey tea.
Yeah, I do too. And so it has that kind of citrusy, herby kind of taste to it. 1/2 ounce of pomegranate liqueur. 1/4 ounce of blood orange bitters, which is made by Stirrings. That's the one I've found. A teaspoon of lemon juice, and I try to use the lemon juice that's not from concentrate. It's just straight lemon juice because you get a much better flavor.
It's pure.
Yes. And then 1 to 2 dashes of cardamom bitters made by Phoebe Brothers. And then I top it off with 1/2 can of Fever Tree elderflower tonic water because I'm obsessed with it. And then for this drink, because it's magical.
Ooh.
I also added some edible glitter, so it's sparkly.
It's very pretty.
It's really gorgeous.
It literally looks like a magic potion.
Yeah.
It does.
And then I garnished it with a
Can
dehydrated blood orange slice, and then lavender and sage from my garden. So the mocktail, I did not create this mocktail, but I found one that was kind of similar. I mean, as similar as I could really get. And like I mentioned before, the Earl Grey tea, it's flavored with bergamot. So I found this Earl Grey tea mocktail.
Ooh, that sounds yummy.
And it actually does sound good, but I'm going to change it up a little bit because to match our drink here.
Yes.
So it's 1/2 cup of Earl Grey tea. If you can find double Earl Grey, that will be even more of that bergamot flavor. So that can... Plus the depth of the tea, it'll kind of combine and make that Metaxa and an Italicus bergamot liqueur combined, is what I'm thinking. Then a teaspoon of honey. The original recipe says a 1/4 cup of tart cherry juice, but I would say use pomegranate juice to go along with the Pama liqueur.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says 1 to 2 drops of bitters. I think the blood orange bitters actually that I have is non-alcoholic because I read the ingredients and I didn't see any alcohol at all. So you could use that, or you could also do like make a cardamom simple syrup or something, or even add a little bit, like just make a liquid cardamom, a couple drops in there to give that spice back to it. And then you can garnish it with an orange wedge and the lavender and sage if you want to.
That sounds
Be
good.
fancy.
I want to try it.
Yeah, like it sounds really good.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Sam,
You're welcome.
once again for bringing us a great and delicious cocktail and mocktail.
I try because I don't want to drink anything that tastes like shit.
No, exactly. Yeah, you put your heart and soul into these, and we see it. And with that, why don't we go to the history of the author/authors? Amber, you want to kick things off?
Sure. So there are 2 people associated with like kind of creating like the Greek myths. And of course, everybody knows about, or most people know, of Homer. He's the author of the Iliad.
Don't!
Sorry. Different Homer. But I thought that too. He's the author of the Iliad and the Odyssey, and he was born anywhere between the 12th and 8th centuries BC. So, like a span of 400 years.
Damn.
Wow.
That's intense.
Yeah. So somewhere in there.
Speaking of not knowing your self-identity, like, I don't even know when I was born.
When was my birthday?
Yeah.
Likely on the coast of Asia Minor, so anywhere along that coast. Anyway,
Okay, all right.
his life remains a mystery. Some think he was a man. Others think the stories were written by a group.
Oh.
Yeah. The Iliad covers the Trojan War, so some scholars believe Homer was alive at the time of the event in 1200 BC. But his poetic style is indicative of a later period, around 750 BC. Yeah. The books are written in Asiatic Greek, specifically Ionic, so many scholars think he is from Ionia. So you guys know how, like, Homer's usually depicted as being blind?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
Because he was blind?
Because somebody plucked his eyes out because he was looking at some lady he wasn't supposed to?
Oh my god, no. That would be, like, really brilliant. No,
That was my
would
guess.
make sense.
I don't know.
That would really make sense. Yeah, no. He was depicted as blind based on a blind poet minstrel in the Odyssey called Demodocus. Some interpreted this as a hint to what Homer's life was like. So because there was one character that was a poet, they were like, he's blind, just like that guy.
That is insane, though.
Yeah,
Wait,
like
it was just like a
huge leap.
accusation or
A
something?
very
Yeah. Oh, you
large
wrote about a killer?
shot
You
in the
probably murdered someone.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
huge fucking leap to make based on some bullshit that, like, it's like, oh, that was like thousands of years ago. Probably he was blind. I don't know. And then what I found out is he died in Greece. And by the way, I don't know how they know that, but not where he was born.
Or
It
when
says
he was
died.
born.
Yeah, it says he died in Greece.
They don't know nothing about
I
him.
don't think they know anything.
I
No.
think they're just guessing.
They're just making shit up.
There is a quote from Homer that I kind of liked. And it says, "Hateful to me as the gates of Hades is that man who hides one thing in his heart and speaks another." I liked it. I thought that was a good quote.
Very poetic, Homer.
Yes. The other gentleman that is often associated with the Greek myths is Hesiod, who lived around 700 BC. And we know this because he actually wrote about his own life. And he's like, yeah, that's me. I was born in this time. He was a farmer in Boeotia. I don't know. Something like this.
One of them things.
And he is known for Works and Days and the Theogony, and some lines of his composition, Shield of Heracles. Homer described rich and kingly people, and Hesiod described the life of the common man. So, like, they had different life perspectives, which I think is
Interesting.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's where most of our knowledge of Greek myths came from, is just basically interpretations of these gentlemen's writings.
Yeah, I figured there wouldn't be too much just because it was so long ago.
I mean, yeah.
All the documentation and stuff is probably lost and whatnot.
Yes.
But I'm actually not that surprised about, the whole Humper being blind thing going off the rails because that's kind of how Greek mythology is. It's all word of mouth and shit.
But like, what a weird thing for like people of this time to do. It's like, he wrote about this guy, so probably he was blind. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
That's a pretty big leap, my friends. They're like, well, we're scholars.
You're like,
It's
I
like,
don't
okay.
think so.
Yeah.
Most scholars don't jump to conclusions based on bullshit, but okay. Moving on.
Yeah, so
Story
with
time?
that, so how we have this episode broken up is the three of us each picked a god or goddess to cover, and then we each picked a creature/monster to cover.
Yes.
So I'm thinking maybe we go in turns. We each do our god or goddess, and then we each do our monster. How about that?
Deal.
That works. I guess I'll go first since
You're talking?
you guys just talked a bunch.
Okay.
Just to rotate things out. So my god I picked was Poseidon. And the reason I picked him wasn't because I really loved him or anything, but I'm really into like the ocean and stuff, and I know that he's like the god of the ocean and whatnot. But I also was prepared to know that he is a super uber dick because all of the gods are basically dicks. But I am kind of I had some stories, but I kind of like went down a rabbit hole because I didn't have an actual book to read. Well, I did have one because I found a Greek mythology book at my house. I picked it up. I'm like, oh, this would be great for this episode. Not realizing that it was a textbook from the 70s. So it was very boring. So what I did was I just went down like the Wikipedia rabbit hole and other things. And just, I have like kind of a background on Poseidon and then a couple smaller stories. So with that, let's kick it off. Poseidon was the god of the sea, of course, but also of earthquakes and horses. Did you guys know about the horses?
That makes sense because usually when you see him and he's like riding on the waves are horses.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, now it makes all sense. Like, as I was reading, I'm like, oh, that makes sense, but I did not know about the horses. I knew about the earthquakes, but I didn't know about the horses.
I didn't know about earthquakes.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't know about the horses either, but now
You have to fight like a horse in God of War, so like a water horse. So yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll make sense of that.
And with the correlation with the horses, he's known for being the creator of springs, like little springs, like river thingies.
Like cold water. Really cold water.
And a little story about the horses. Apparently, he hit a rock with his trident, and the first horse was born, named Skypheus. So that's where horses came from, Poseidon. He birthed them from a rock.
Good for him.
Very believable.
Yeah. Good for him.
I have questions, but that's okay.
Poseidon is not to be confused with Pontos, who is the personification of the sea and the oldest Greek divinity of the waters, who was born from the earth at the creation of dawn. So don't confuse Poseidon with him, Pontos. Different person.
Barely, right?
Yeah, you're like, what? So Poseidon ends up marrying Pontos' eldest daughter, Amphitrite.
Okay.
He is the son of Kronos, who is the youngest of 12 Titans, and Rhea, who is the fertile goddess. But also, Kronos and Rhea were siblings, so there's some incest right there.
There was a lot of it.
There was a lot of
Hera
incest.
And Zeus were also siblings. Like,
I was reading that, and I'm like, wait, what?
There's
that
a
gross.
lot in Pantheon.
It's some of that, old English stuff of keeping bloodlines pure and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then,
Yep.
things don't always, maybe you give birth to a weird looking Titan. I don't know.
I mean, that's where all these creatures came from. Yeah, I mean, literally, that's what happens.
Oh no, I've created a monster. Well, I have a child with one eye. Well, friend.
I wonder why.
You're not supposed to sleep with your brother.
Poseidon is the brother of Zeus, the god of the sky, and Hades, the god of the underworld. Woo! His weapon, as I said earlier, and main symbol is the trident or fish spear, which was made by the three Cyclops. So thanks, Cyclops, for making that trident for Poseidon.
Speaking of incest.
Yes. We'll get into the Cyclopses. Being the god of earthquakes, Poseidon is connected to dry land as well, although many of his places of worship usually had a pool or stream or other form of water. So even though it was like on land, there was still some kind of water to be like, hey, look, there we go. Poseidon was said to have had many lovers of both sexes.
Ooh.
Here's a story. And in my notes, I didn't write out Poseidon the whole time. I call him Po. So if I say Po, I'm talking about Poseidon. Po. Po took Neretes, the son of Nereus and Doris, as a lover. Neretes was also Poe's charioteer and impressed all marine creatures with his speed. He was very fast, apparently. But one day, the sun god Helios...
That's not impressive in bed.
I know, that's what I was thinking. But apparently, on a chariot, it is impressive.
Oh, okay.
That's really the animals doing.
I know, right?
really
He's just
his
like
doing.
being like, go faster, go faster.
Yeah.
Also, was this a chariot of the sea or of the land?
I don't
Or
know.
both.
Or the sky.
Well, it wouldn't be the sky because that's Zeus's territory.
Go water horse.
Go, water horse!
Away!
But one day, the sun god Helios turned Neretes into a shellfish. From the love of
Shellfish
Poseidon and Neretes was born Anteros, aka mutual love. Aww, isn't that cute?
Boo.
That's the only cute story I'm going to tell tonight. Because Poseidon is a fucker. All right.
Literally.
Hence, going into some other stories, his relationships with women were not so cute. Like I said, he was the god of the horses, and he fathered Pegasus because he had a fling with Medusa. And out of that came Pegasus.
I'm not really sure how that works. She
Well-
was like a snake. He was a...
So what happened
water
was
guy.
Athena, which I didn't want to talk too much about Athena because that's Amber's territory.
It's okay.
But
You go ahead.
Athena was angry that Poseidon and Medusa hooked up, so she turned Medusa into a Gorgon. Hence why she had all
A
the...
Gordon?
Gorgon.
Gorgon. Why did I type Gordon? A Gordon Ramsays.
Now all I can think of is like the fucking...
Fucking raw!
the Batman guy. Gordon.
Athena
Gordon.
turned Medusa into an angry chef.
Commissioner Gordon.
When Medusa was decapitated by Perseus, Pegasus was born from her blood. So that's how Pegasus came about. Yeah.
But like, that wasn't the original reason.
There's a lot of
There's
different
so
varieties.
many versions
Yeah.
of these
What
stories.
happened in the movie?
I know! What the heck?
No.
There's a lot of different varieties of all
There's a
these myths,
lot
so
of
I just picked the
versions
ones
to
that I was like,
these.
I'll just cover that. Whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody, all of this is factual. Just so you know. That's why it's called mythology. All right. This is fucked up. Poseidon would take the form of a horse a lot, especially for sexual assault. Yay! No, not at all. One myth tells the story of how Poseidon was pursuing the goddess of agriculture, Demeter, who is Poseidon's sister, by the way.
Mhm.
And she was mourning the death of her daughter. She turned into a mare to try to avoid him because she saw him chasing her. And then he turned himself into a stallion and raped her.
What a shit.
What a fucking asshole.
Ugh.
All right, here's another one. And then I'll get off the sad train. One day, Poseidon spotted Caenis walking by the seashore, caught her, and sexually assaulted her. Having enjoyed her greatly, this is not my words, this is what I quote, having enjoyed her greatly, he offered her a wish, any wish. Traumatized, Caenis wished to be transformed into a man so that she would never experience assault again. Poseidon fulfilled her request and changed her into a male warrior, which then took the name Caenis. So she's like, I don't want to fucking deal with this bullshit anymore. Turn me into a man. And he did. Exactly. Yep. Not fun. All right. Poseidon had many offsprings, including the horse Arion, the giants Orion and Antaeus, the cyclops Polyphemus, and the merman Triton. Shout out to the Little Mermaid.
Hey, King.
Hey. In Homer's Odyssey, Odysseus pisses off Poseidon after he blinded Poseidon's son, the Cyclops Polyphemus. In retaliation, Poseidon causes massive storms that sink Odysseus' ship, kill his crew, and delay his voyage home by 10 years. So he took 10 years to get home.
It's a long time.
That fucking sucks. The mythical land of Atlantis is said to be one of Poseidon's homes. Poseidon was also known to cause certain forms of mental disturbances, quote unquote, including epilepsy. That's the only mention. I don't know where that came from, but apparently that's a thing.
That is weird.
I know. In Corinth, there was an athletic and music festival called Isthmius, which honored Poseidon and had a bunch of horse races and music, which I was like, I want to fucking go to that shit. That sounds fun. All right. Here's another story. This is my last story. Zeus's son Minos asked Poseidon's help in gaining the throne of Crete. Poseidon gave Minos a white bull, which he told Minos would need to be sacrificed to Poseidon afterwards. The Cretans were so impressed with the bull that Minos became king. He wanted to keep the bull, so he tried to pull a fast one on Poseidon and sacrificed a different bull to him. Poseidon was pissed and in retaliation caused Minos' wife Pasiphae to fall in love with the bull. From that soiree,
Lauren can't talk.
From that soiree, I can't say it.
Soiree. Lauren means soiree, friends. From that soiree.
Of water.
From that soiree. I'm so
Chokes
Lauren,
and dies.
I'm so sorry.
Oh my god. I didn't mean to screw over my stuff.
Oh dear.
Oh god, I'm not even drunk. Okay. Woo! Oh, I'm good.
Soiree.
When I was typing it up, I'm like, that'll be a fun word to say.
And no.
I literally just burped water all over myself. And Sam's sitting there in horror next to me. What just happened? Oh my god, okay. From that soiree, the Minotaur was born, who is a half bull, half human creature that feeds on human flesh. So I thought that was interesting, because I always thought the Minotaur was a cool creature.
Yeah.
It is a cool creature.
It's scary as fuck, though.
Yeah, because he literally, like, eats people. To end my segment on Poseidon, it would be a teenysode if we didn't sing a little bit.
Oh.
And I found that Homer wrote some hymns about a lot of the gods and goddesses. So,
oh, yes, the Homeric hymns.
yes, here is a hymn about Poseidon. I begin to sing about Poseidon, the great god, mover of the earth and fruitless sea, god of the deep, who is also a lord of Helicon and wide Aegea. A twofold office the gods are lauded you, O shaker of the earth, to be a tamer of the horses and a savior of the ships. Yeah! Hail Poseidon, holder of the earth, dark-haired lord. Oh, blessed one, be kindly in heart and help those who voyage in ships. The end.
I always thought he was, like, white-haired.
So you got, I did too. So apparently he's like some like dark brooding Adonis. Anyway.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. You fucking
I know.
rapist.
Whatever, yeah. That is why I wanted to see a dark-haired lord. I was like,
But
dang,
also-
he was probably hot.
You guys couldn't see it, but Sam was doing jazz hands and it was fantastic. Like the whole time, Sam's just over here dancing her little ass off and it was great.
Okay, so I was trying to be serious about that and actually do a hymn, but then it started being like more like jazzy and
Yeah. And I was like, okay.
I was like, I can't do the hymn shit. I'm sorry.
Anyway.
With that, do we need another drink refill or
Yes.
anything?
Yes.
All right, let's take a little break to get a drink refill, and I'm gonna clean my shirt because I literally spewed water on myself. So.
Oh, not water.
Oh,
No,
dear.
that was water.
I know.
Oh.
Why do you need to clean yourself, girl?
Some water.
Damn.
So I chose the goddess Hecate. In Greek, her name means worker from afar or the distant one. In the Roman mythology, she's Trivia. We love trivia.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We're terrible at it.
Yeah, but we love it.
Mhm.
But we like it.
So yes, in Roman mythology, her name was Trivia, which I took Latin in high school.
Ooh.
So Trivia, if you break it down, means 3 roads. Okay. In modern Italian, which I also took in college, it's 3 through. So 3 ways through, essentially. Via is roads in Latin and through in Italian. So that we'll come back to that whole part in a second. So Hecate was actually a titan before she was considered a goddess. She is known to be the goddess of witchcraft, magic, necromancy, sorcery.
Sounds like a badass.
Bringing bodies back?
All those things.
Isn't that what necromancy is?
Yeah, bringing things back from
It's
the dead.
like if I was a dead body.
Reanimator.
Yeah. I just wiggled my entire body like you all could see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw it. Trust me, we saw
I looked like a weeble that wobbled. I probably would have fallen.
So she's actually a goddess of a lot of things because she's also the goddess of crossroads, ghosts, the night, the dark side of the moon, herbs, and strangely light.
She sounds like my kind of lady.
Yeah. So she's considered a liminal goddess, which is basically she can go between the land of the living and the land of the dead. She's also considered a psionic goddess, which is basically an underworld goddess. But really, she's liminal because she goes back and forth.
She got that passport.
Yeah, girl. She's got keys.
Yeah, there you go.
So she was honored among the earth, sea, and heavens by Zeus, which was pretty crazy because Zeus was the ones after the War of the Titans. He either killed or imprisoned them all.
Mm-hmm.
She was basically the only Titan that he didn't. He was like, you're chill. It's the whole like thing of like, fuck you, you're cool, fuck you. You know?
Yeah.
I
The
mean,
cool
I think
club.
there was like another, because I was reading about another like god today, or Titan rather, that I was like, ooh, they're cool. I'll do them as a monster. And then I was like, well, they're not really a monster though. So they're not really a monster.
Mm-hmm.
But he was another Titan that Zeus was like,
There was very few of them.
you can have a job. And I
Yeah.
was like, what a fuck. Thanks for the help. You can go to work. Fuck off.
Zeus was a dick, man.
Yeah, he really was.
Huge old dick.
She doesn't have a lot of mentions in any of the great like stories and mythologies, but she does have a few. And I would say, let's see, she was mentioned in the Theogony by Hesiod, the Argonautica by Apollonius Rhodius. If I just let my tongue relax, I can say that freaking word. The Homeric hymn, which is attributed to Homer, but not necessarily
Written by him?
Yeah, they can't really prove that it was completely written by him. It might have been like a group. Again,
Hence what Amber said. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's where we find a story that where Hades kidnaps and rapes Persephone.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, it was a rape? I didn't know it was
Yeah.
a rape. I thought he just took her and was
I mean,
like, I love you.
Honestly, most sexual
Yeah.
encounters
Here,
in
have
mythology
some
are
fucking stuff.
rapes. Honestly. Like,
yeah, I thought
sadly.
he just... Okay, so Listen, I took mythology in high school, so they didn't really talk rape.
yeah.
But they were
Yeah.
like, yeah, he just really loved her and kidnapped her, and so he took her to the underworld and she ate some pomegranate seeds, and that's why we have spring.
No.
That's
That's not the full story. You can't tell high schoolers about
That's
rape,
how the
God
seasons
forbid.
Right.
Yeah, well, I think, okay, so
Even though
listen.
it's happened already.
I had
Yeah.
Mrs. Storms.
Yeah, she was great.
If there was ever a teacher who would have, if they were allowed to at that time,
Yeah.
she would have fucking done it.
Yeah, Mrs. Storms was great. I took
was
her mythology
amazing.
class too.
R.I.P.
Yeah. Yes, R.I.P.
So she was also mentioned in the Eleusinian Mysteries, and there was another one that starts with a C, something oracles, I can't remember. She's like in little blips of a bunch of different things, and
She's been around.
Yeah, she's actually older
Dips her
than
toe in a lot of
Greek
things.
mythology.
Oh,
So yeah, there's a lot of other people with names that I'm not going to even try to pronounce. So,
She sounds like a badass.
Yeah.
She sounds like somebody I'd hang with.
She's someone that I definitely knew. I've heard that name, but I didn't know what.
we might get to why you might know that name.
Oh, okay.
So she is actually still followed by the members of the Temple of Ascending Flame, which is actually this book that I have. They wrote it. But at the time she was a common household goddess, and a lot of times they would actually like use her to bless their way as they would leave the house.
Is this like a Wicca thing a little bit?
She is in Wicca.
Okay, that's why that's why I recognize. I've done a lot of Wicca study stuff, not like heavily like Wicca friends. I totally support what you guys do. It's cool. But I've done a little bit of that stuff in my, like, that's one of the big things that I did for my nursing school presentation, because I feel like Wicca is a very misunderstood, religious group. And so I was like, it's not like what you guys think it is. It's all of this really beautiful, like, nature-loving thing. So anyway, cool stuff you guys are doing.
White witchcraft.
Yes.
So she, like I said, she's older than what we would say Greek mythology. She's actually from Asia Minor, Anatolia / modern day Turkey, and then was later adopted into the Greek pantheon. Her parents were the Titans Perseus, which is means the destroyer, and Asteria, which I kind of like that name.
Yeah, pretty.
Which means the starry one. She's often described as a psychopomp, which I love that word.
Oh, I love psychopomps. That's what the Grim Reaper is.
Yes.
The Grim Reaper is a psychopomp.
I was like,
I don't know this word. Tell me more.
I love it. It's a guider of souls.
Yeah.
Oh. Mm-hmm. It's called a psychopomp?
Psychopomp, yep.
It's literally psychopomp.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah. I was like, I love that. I need to use it.
Yes.
So returning to the Persephone story.
Okay.
She actually acts as an escort for Persephone when she returns to Tartarus in the fall and winter. And then she is her companion in the underworld while she's there. Huh. She actually was the one who witnessed the kidnapping and went and told Demeter about it.
Gotcha.
So, fuck you, Hades.
Yeah.
So she has a
fucking
lot of
rapey ass brothers.
Freaking Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon. Fuck you.
Yeah, because like
those three brothers.
I thought I liked Hades. Apparently, fuck him too.
Yeah.
Or don't, because he's a rapist. They're all very rapey.
They are extremely rapey, all of them.
Ugh.
So Hecate is never married. She doesn't have a consort that she's affiliated with. She doesn't have children. She is just a straight bad bitch out there by herself doing her thing.
Good for her.
Mm-hmm. So she does have a lot of familiars and associated creatures, and I'm like, girl, same. I love my animals. So a very common one that you see is the, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, but we're going to guess it. A Stygian dog? Stygian?
Never heard of it.
Stygian. And that backstory is, it was actually the queen of Troy, and her name was Hecate or Hecuba, and she threw herself into the sea and was turned into a black dog. So dogs are very common, like associated and like symbolic with Hecate. And dogs were actually often used as sacrifices to her.
Oh.
And
That's sad.
Yeah. They originally thought to reference possible like childbirth associations because I don't know. But later another theory was that the dogs were demons or wandering souls. So kind of like that hellhound crossroads thing you get it.
I've definitely heard the black dog like as like a
grim.
Yeah, a grim thing. Yeah. Yep.
Well, hellhounds, they usually say at crossroads when you make the deal with the devil, you hear the hellhounds calling and like baying to collect.
Or like some kind of bad omen, like you see a black dog and you're like, ooh, some shit's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's one of her familiars. Another one is a black polecat. Now, do either of you know what a polecat is?
I know this, but I don't know exactly. I envision a bobcat, but I know it's not.
It's a cat that hangs out on poles.
It's a stripper
Come on,
cat.
guys. Cat turning tricks? Okay, no.
Okay, so what was your actual guess?
I said bobcat, but I know it's not.
So, in my family, we're a bunch of fucking rednecks, right? And
Is it like a weasel?
Hillbilly. Oh, girl, you right!
Woo!
Okay, so we called skunks polecats.
Oh, okay.
So I was like,
They're
what is an
weasel.
actual polecat? All right. And so they are fucking ferrets.
Oh,
All right.
They're
cute.
ferrets. So she
That
had...
makes sense.
Because they kind of look like the shape of a pole.
Yeah.
Like they're very pole shaped.
They're long and slender.
Yes.
Very
little ferrets.
interesting.
So she had a black polecat, and it was said to be a witch named Gale that...
A witch named Gale.
Gale, slink your body over here. Another familiar she was associated with was, well, it's not really familiar, but it's a creature she's associated with, was Cerberus or Cerberus.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
As we all know, is the guardian of the underworld.
My favorite.
So because she was associated with dogs and the underworld, that kind of like went hand in hand, but also because she helped guide souls of the dead to the gates of the underworld, and he guarded the gates.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So it was like a friend kind of situation, I guess. She was also associated with frogs because they live in between worlds, the water and land.
Oh, yeah.
And they could go
amphibians.
back and forth. Mm-hmm. And then obviously we talked about the packs of dogs of like the hellhounds, and they would always announce her approach. And they were also thought to guard portals and crossroads and sound alarms for danger. Usually there were statues of her outside like city gates and stuff too. So that
Cool.
kind of goes along with that. And then randomly, a fish, a red mullet.
That's a kind of fish.
It's a type of fish, and it is a
Interesting.
real thing, because I was like, what is that even? What is that real?
Did you Google it?
I did. And the reason why they associated it with her was because of the similarity in the name. Mullet was Trigla or Triagli, and Hecate was considered trimorphous.
Oh, interesting.
So a redfish will also, or the red mullet will also eat corpses of other fish and man alike. So it takes on some aspects of the goddess in the sense that it's dealing with death and corpses.
So I just imagine her having like this big ass farm with all these animals. She's a fish farmer. She's got all these little polecats running around.
Dogs
She's
barking
got
up
dogs
storm.
barking. Yeah, frogs. I love her.
Yeah, she's great so far, right?
She's very inspiring. Yeah.
So she is got a lot of symbology, and actually she is something that I want to get tattooed eventually. Like,
Nice.
Really cool. So the symbology that usually associated with her was torches and lamps, because she helped guide the way through the dark. Keys, because it often was because of the gates, the keys to the gates of Tartarus that she held, but also because she could travel between the realms and like open portals and gates. And it might be a protection, like a reference to the protection of city gates and city walls, but also her sigil, if you look it up, it's called Hecate's keys. Again, dogs. And then a lot of time, this is something very common that you'll see, especially like in witchcraft and whatnot, is the triple goddess. Now in like Wicca and a lot of witchcraft, it's considered maiden, mother, and crone. So it's the three aspects of a woman.
Crone. That's an older person?
Mm-hmm, old woman.
Oh, okay. What a weird term. Crone?
Well, the crone like typically is considered like the witch of the woods, the wise woman.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So it's like not a bad negative term.
Right.
I always associate it with like a negative.
It
You
is-
old crone?
It is now, but
Yeah,
then
it wasn't. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
It was more of a forbidding like honor, essentially, because she was a wise woman. But She was also displayed as a triple human form, but with monstrous heads that were typically a dog, horse, or serpent. Sometimes the serpent was actually replaced with a lion head. And in Wicca, as a fun fact, she is identified with the crone aspect of the triple goddess. Then the last thing I have for symbology is serpents. And that's because of the transformation, rebirth, shedding of the skin. So you're changing and, you know, taking on new roles and whatnot. But it's also a primal feminine power and life force. And the serpents are also associated with the moon, which is a very strong feminine power. But she's specifically associated with the dark side of the moon. And there's other moon goddesses that sometimes she's equated with, like Selene, but...
Dion?
Oh my God.
Wait, what? She is my goddess, yes. I love her.
Selene is more like the light side of the moon, and then Hecate is like the dark side of the moon.
Okay.
So like mysteries and whatnot.
Gotcha, yeah.
Gotcha.
Then because she's also a goddess of like herbs and plants and stuff, some of the common ones that we can see her mentioned or like were part of her worship and whatnot. Garlic was very common.
Yes. Oh, she probably makes a mean like dinner, you know? Like I would go to her house
Garlic
for dinner.
nuts galore.
Just like so much garlic in anything she makes.
No vampires there.
I am down for that. I love garlic.
A very common one was yew, so the tree. It's poisonous. And then reading into that, it was also used as wreaths on her sacrifices and on funeral pyres. But historically, it's grown in churchyards and to make actual like bows and bow and arrows.
Oh.
So there's cypress, which is a symbol of death in the underworld, which is also like one of my favorite like tree smells. I love cypress.
Cypress.
Mandrake, which is poisonous.
Yep.
And it's supposed to be dug up by dogs. Again with the dogs.
Again with the dogs.
Belladonna, which is also poisonous, and like every part of this plant is poisonous. Do not fucking touch it. And then the last plant that I have is aconite, which is also wolfsbane.
Yes.
And also known as monk's hood.
I'm gonna mention that in my monster.
Anyway, so just for the last little bit for fun facts about Hecate, she's actually mentioned in 3 of Shakespeare's plays. Midsummer's Night's Dream, Macbeth, which both of those make sense because there's witchcraft in both of them, and King Lear, which I have no idea if there's witchcraft in it or not. I've never watched or read any of it. So.
Sounds boring.
Yep. Then, okay. This is a fun one I did not know about. In 1922, in Los Angeles, there was a cult that was made called the Blackburn Cult. It's also called the Divine Order of the Royal Arms of the Great 11. That's too many words.
Sounds like a cult, yeah.
And then it's also known as the Great 11 Club.
The Great 11 Club?
Yeah.
That sounds kind of like
club.
bougie. Like,
Yeah.
we're the Great 11 Club. You can only come here if you have this many dollars.
So this cult was created.
It's $11.
Oh, girl, it's definitely not $11. Let me tell you.
And a blood sacrifice.
They used worship
I'm a
rituals
diabetic.
and rites for Hecate as part of their worship, but they were eventually accused, and the leader was indicted of grand theft because she stole like 40 grand.
Woo!
And that's a lot in 1920.
Yeah, 1920.
I think
shit.
it's gonna actually
At
happen.
that point,
That's a lot
that
of
would be
money.
like over 100,000, I would think.
But there
Well
was
over.
also suspicions that they murdered and or made other members disappear, and they could never find these people or prove it. Then there was an incident where this family was police came in and found their dead daughter underneath their floorboards.
Woo.
She was wrapped up in spices and salt and stuff because they were trying to bring her back to life with the cult, and she was there and had been there for 14 months.
And then Hecate was like, I do not condone this.
She's like, girl.
Bitch, no.
Yeah. But
Those spices aren't helping the smell, friend.
Yeah. I see what you're doing, but no, that's no Airwick.
But apparently they use dogs and stuff for their sacrifices.
Oh, again, that's sad.
Very sad.
I like that we're sad about the dogs and we're like, ha ha ha, but that body smelled.
I definitely said about the daughter too.
Well, it's sad because she was like 16 years old. So
that's sad.
It's also very sad, but like when everybody's like,
damn, all these dogs get sacrificed.
We aren't heartless bitches, I swear.
We're not. But I like how everybody's like, okay, somebody died, and then everybody's like the dog. We're like, oh, not the dog.
So something that I think that you might have heard about Hecate from, like when you mentioned earlier, is did you ever watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the new one?
Yeah, I watched the first season, I think.
Okay, well, the last season before it got canceled.
It got canceled?
It did get canceled.
Wait, did I watch? Are there only 2 seasons?
There's 4.
Shit, I did not watch that many, no.
Well, in the last season, spoiler
think.
alert for everyone, basically they try to take down Satan, or Lucifer, and in the process, they basically stop worshiping Lucifer and they start worshiping Hecate, like the whole like coven school thing. So that was like the New Age reference to her. And then, lastly and finally, to tie it back into our last teenysode of the Grimm's Fairy Tales, she is sometimes associated with the Wild Hunt, which could also be associated with The Witcher.
Oh, I never watched that either, but I know of it, yeah.
Ben did.
I loved The Witcher. I love the games, too. I've not read the books.
Is it one of those memes where it's like, I love this for the plot, and this the person that's that guy? Isn't there a really hot guy?
Henry,
yeah. Is that why you liked it?
I mean, that's a good reason why I liked it. No, but I liked the...
I think that's why Ben likes it, too.
Let's get serious.
It's something about nerd stuff, though.
He's
like,
so sexy
like
and dirty and grimy, and I love it.
But he looks so... I don't like him when he's cleaned up at all, though.
I like it when he's, like, dirty and gross.
Grimes up good.
He grimes up real good, girl. But the games are actually really fun, too.
Yeah, because it's based off a game, right?
Yeah. Well, it's actually based off a series of books.
Oh.
I've not read the books, and I plan on it. But anyway, so the Wild Hunt is, like, part of the Witcher, like, anthologies. But it's basically a god or a goddess leading a cacophony of souls who act as hunters. And they bring about a warning of war, plague, or death to those who are unfortunate enough to see them. And actually the Wild Hunt, the term, was coined by Jacob Grimm in his Deutsch Mythologies because it was a common Germanic folklore theme.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm done now.
Well, what the Hecate? That was great.
Beautiful.
She seems like a badass goddess. Way better than Poseidon, that's for damn sure.
She's not raping nobody.
No. Fuck that guy. And with that, Amber, do you want to talk about your god or goddess?
Yeah, I just have a few things to share.
Okay.
So I picked Athena because, wisdom and all that. And, I'm so wise with all of my life choices that I made.
And you have so many owls.
Yeah, I have so many owls.
I wish I had an owl.
I do have 2 owls. I have 2 owls sitting on my little thing, windowsill at work that have plants in them. They're little planters. Anyway, so she was born out of her father's head. Yeah. So here's how that happened. Fun breakdown, because they always just said she sprung from her father's skull. That's not quite how it happened.
There's a whole story behind
There's a whole thing. So her mother was Metis, and Zeus was told by Mother Earth, which I'm assuming is Gaia, but I don't actually know because I think there's a couple of like Mother Earth figures.
Yeah.
Usually it's Gaia, though.
But it's usually Gaia. So I'm gonna assume it's Gaia, but Mother Earth warned him that if he had a son by Metis, the son would dethrone him as he had dethroned his own father Cronus. So he's like, fuck that. That's not gonna happen.
Yep.
So he's like, hey, Metis, let's play like a fun little like husband-wife game. Let's turn ourselves into like fun things. And so like they're playing a game of like transformation. And so they do. And Metis turns herself into a fly and Zeus is like, caught you, bitch! Blah! And he eats her.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which,
dear.
like, also I'm sitting there and I'm like, why would you fucking eat a fly? Ew. I would barf.
There's
But
lots
okay.
of questionable things happening.
He
in there.
does, yeah. Anyway,
It's
so
time.
he swallows her and she just, like, lives in his head rent-free for the rest of her fucking days. And just, like, talks to him and guides him through his life. What a fuck nuts. So that's his first wife.
Okay, that's some serious tinnitus.
It is. And so he just like she just lives up there. She just hangs out and is like, all right, I'm gonna guide
That was
you.
too funny. I don't know why that was so
Yeah.
funny to me.
The buzzing, just the constant
It just keeps
buzzing.
on
Yes.
going.
So, okay. So she just lives there. She just lives in his head rent free and guides him for the rest of his life. But she was pregnant. And so she has the baby, and it's Athena. Like, spoiler alert. And the like Athena grows in Zeus's head, I guess. And he gets like all these splitting headaches, and he's like, "Oh God, my head!" And Hephaestus, which is one of his sons, and like,
Bless you.
thank you, Hephaestus, is one of his sons, and he's like the blacksmith, like, and he's always depicted as being like very ugly. I think he's the one who marries Aphrodite, but
He
Always has
yes.
that. He's banging an anvil.
yeah, he's
I
like
know who
he's
you're talking
always
about.
depicted as like this very ugly character who like I
And
don't know.
misshapen.
Yes, ends up like scoring with like the hottest babe and like
It's like, how did you get
know,
her?
She did not want
Greek
him.
mythology. She
Yeah.
didn't. It was like
they were
this whole
forced
thing.
to marry.
Oh,
Yeah. So anyway. He's like, okay, Dad, I've got this, and he like fucking splits his skull open, and then springs forth Athena, and that's how that happened.
So it wasn't just Athena though, because Poseidon and other siblings came from that too, because they're all siblings.
No, that's Cronus in them. That's when he
that's a
split
different-
Cronus open.
Oh,
That's
so-
a different thing.
So apparently, a lot of people birth from people's heads.
Yeah, and he swallowed all of the kids, and like it's a whole thing.
Cronus ate his
Cronus
children.
ate all
Yeah,
of his
but that's how
children.
Poseidon got made, was being birthed from his head.
Well,
and
because
then-
the wife like got pissed and like fucking.
But what I'm saying, that happened, and then Medusa birthed Pegasus from
The blood of her.
from her head.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like weird.
So that's how Athena is born. And she led armies. She had a companion called Nike. No association to the shoes, but probably an exact association to the shoes. They're probably like, yeah.
That's probably where they got it
That's
from.
probably exactly
Probably
where they got the name from. And then she taught artists of Greece the fine arts whenever they weren't in times of war, because she was like really artistic and like was well known for pottery and weaving and all this cool stuff. So I guess she was just like, all right, I guess I'll teach people now.
I'm artsy fartsy.
Just fact checked. Yes, Nike got their name from the Greek goddess of victory, which I'm believing is Athena.
Yes, it is the Greek goddess of victory. Yes.
So Athena probably has really badass shoes then.
I mean, just like, yeah.
Nikes are overrated.
Yeah. Anyway, so while teaching artists of Greece the fine arts, she was teaching one of her pupils was Arachne.
The spider lady, the
Oh,
weaver.
yes. I like
And
her.
so like have you guys ever heard the song The Devil Went Down to Georgia?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's kind of this story. So basically Arachne's like, I'm the best weaver that's ever been. And fucking Athena's like, excuse me, bitch, I taught you. Fuck you. That's not happening. No. And Arachne's like, no, I can take you. So they like have a weave off.
Have a weave off. That sounds
And-
exciting.
Yeah. And Arachne makes like gorgeous weavings. She does. But of course, Athena's are better
a
because
goddess.
she's a fucking goddess.
Can't
And like,
be outdone, yeah.
yeah. So she is like, you. Okay, let me find the exact quote because it's really. She's like,
you.
vainglorious girl, go on and spin your thread and weave your empty net forever. And she fucking.
Your facial expressions. I don't know what you did with your face. That was insane.
You're welcome. And so she fucking turns her into a spider. Immediately, Arachne felt her head shrink almost to nothing. Her nimble fingers change into long, spindly legs. Athena had turned her into a spider.
Gross.
Yep. So that's what the book is. And that's basically what happens to that's the story. So yeah, that's how we got spiders, and Arachne. That wasn't
Arachne.
wasn't foreshadowing at all what was going to happen to her at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's Athena in a nutshell. She's also like a little bit a lot of it responsible for everything that happened with Medusa, which is one of my favorite characters. We will discuss her in another show because she's her own thing.
Yeah, well, actually, I left her out of a lot of things because there is a lot of sibling rivalry between her and Poseidon.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. And I was like, I knew that you were doing Athena, so I kind of like didn't really touch on it, but there was some kind of myth.
But they're not siblings.
I thought they were siblings.
No, that's her uncle.
Oh, well, anyway, they fight a lot.
They do.
And there was some kind of thing where I think they were battling over Crete. And each one of them gave a gift of some sort, and Poseidon's gift was shitty ass, and it was horrible. And then
it was salt water. She's like, here you go.
Here's some salt water. And then I forget.
They're like, what the fuck?
Oh,
we can't do anything.
We're surrounded by salt water.
Yeah.
And then she gave them like an olive tree or something.
She did.
And then they're like, we want Athena. And then Poseidon's like, fuck you. And Athena's like, fuck you, I won't, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I didn't tell that story because I didn't know if you were going to, but I'm like, yes.
Yep.
Yes, girl.
Yep. Because they were like, oh, we love you.
And then he got all like butthurt. Like there's so many stories.
There's
of
a lot of
Poseidon
bottom
being
bruise
butthurt.
with
Yeah.
Poseidon.
Yeah, yep. I mean, there's a lot of goddesses that have a lot of wrath too, but most of the gods were just little pathetic little turds that were just like, you hurt my feelings, I'm gonna do something about it.
Yeah. That's such bullshit.
And usually that something was rape.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck them.
All
Don't
right.
fuck them.
Well,
They're terrible.
Or turning women into monsters. There's a lot of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of that too. That's like a whole like, they're like, ugh, I'm pissed at you. I'll turn you into a monster forever. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Right?
Poor Medusa.
Spiteful.
We actually talked about this in our little group chat. We all kind of wanted to cover Medusa, and we were like, let's not, because we all want to do it. She could be her own episode. So
we'll make Medusa an episode.
I mentioned
someday,
her
guys.
a little bit, but that was it because she's a fucking badass.
Yep.
All right. I need to go to the bathroom real quick. We'll do a refill, and
Little
then
break.
we'll get back to the monsters. See you in a bit.
Some elevator music, motherfuckers, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, we're back, and we are going to cover the monsters / creatures that we've all decided to pick for the Greek mythology. And so, thanks for setting the mood, Sam.
You're welcome.
I have always been obsessed with Cerberus, and I don't know if it's just because I'm a dog person since I was raised in a veterinary family. I don't know, but I fucking always loved Cerberus.
I could see you like being like, who's a good puppy?
Yes, I would adopt Cerberus in a heartbeat. I totally would.
Aw, three-headed dog.
You're so cool.
Aw.
No one else wants you. I'll take you.
We're your parents' siblings.
Yeah.
Bet you got some like Greek gods and goddesses for parents.
Yeah. It's got some family trauma right there.
Something going on there.
So if you guys don't know, Cerberus is a vicious three-headed dog with serpent heads for tails who guards the entrance of the underworld.
Heads.
Yeah, serpent heads for tails.
I just always knew the three heads. They had serpent heads for tails.
So I made,
weird.
I don't know if it
Yeah.
was for art class or if it was for the Greek mythology class we made, but I made like a little clay figurine of Cerberus.
Do you
Whenever
have it still? I want it.
No, I'm so sad. I don't know what happened to it, but I was so proud of it. And I made the dogs look like our lab, Hershey.
Aw.
She'll find it in this house someday.
Hope
I'm
so.
sure it's here somewhere. Your
If
mom
I do,
kept everything.
I will die happy. But I don't know where it's at. It probably disintegrated.
Aw.
But I love that little statue I made. So anyway, Cerberus allowed the souls of the dead to enter Hades, but prevented the living, except for a few exceptions, from entering. If a soul tried to escape from the underworld, Cerberus would catch them. Cerberus is the son of Typhon, the snake-footed giant, and Echidna, a half-woman, half-snake creature. Hence why the snake tail. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But where's the dog part come from? Were you going to ask that?
No.
Oh.
I have a fun fact.
Oh, yes, go
Okay.
ahead.
There is a creature, a wild animal, living in our world called an echidna.
Yes, I know. I was wondering about that. Like,
And
is it spelled the same way?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it has, it's kind of like a porcupine. It's
Yes.
got spikes.
A cute little thing.
But I think its closest relative is a pangolin.
Yeah, they're kind of like weird anteater things with spikies.
Yeah.
Anteater porcupine.
Oh my god, it's darling. Please post this on our podcast
Okay,
page.
but
Yeah.
the males have like a 3 or 5 headed dick.
Okay, that's a thing with reptiles.
It's terrifying.
They have weird dicks.
So like what?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Girl, look it up. It's weird and
Google
scary.
it.
I'm not gonna look up this thing's penis. I'm not gonna be like,
No, they're weird. They look like
it's-
weird
it's
alien
frightening.
dicks. I haven't seen a echidna dick, but I have seen like
That's
snake.
why I was like, echidna.
I've seen snake and like lizard
No,
dicks.
thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be looking up echidna penis.
It's just a scary thing. man.
3-headed, I
don't-
think.
It's
3 to 5.
Yeah, I can't remember how many.
You know
heads it's
what?
got
If
on
you
it.
have sex with someone with 3 dicks, you got a 3-headed dog. So there you go. That's how Severus was born.
Is that how they came up with that? They're like, it has a 3-headed penis, so therefore there's a dog.
I have no
With
idea,
3 heads.
but I do know whenever I was making my research that I saw echidna, and I was like, oh, I wonder if that's related to.
It's 4.
I'm not.
Okay. All right.
I'm not facing the computer. Woohoo!
It's gone. It's gone.
Thank you.
That looked weird. I was not ready for that.
Lauren's like, well, that's a type of penis I've never seen before. No,
Okay,
thank you.
I've seen
Nor do I want to
not
ever
that
see it
one,
again.
but
It's
I've
like
seen
an
other
alien
ones.
penis.
All right. Anyway, Sam's Google search is gonna be very weird.
Flagged by the government.
Mhm.
Continuing.
So-
Could be worse.
His siblings include Orthos, a 2-headed dog, and Lernian, Hydra, the Hydra, water serpent with multiple heads, which I also love the Hydra. Badass fucking character.
It's pretty neat.
Cerberus was first mentioned in Hesiod's Theogony.
Theogony, I think, is
Theogony.
actually what it's.
Thank you. I'm going to be
probably.
mispronouncing a lot of things, so
I always
correct
said
me.
theogony, so theogony it does sound
I can't even
better.
say, what was I
More
trying to say
better.
earlier?
So soiree.
I couldn't even say soiree earlier, so.
The sorority?
Soiree.
The sorority.
First mentioned in Hesiod's Theogony.
Hesiod.
Whatever. No, whatever.
Hesiod.
one-
You know what I'm
dad.
talking about. That
I
guy
do.
who wrote
that
that
guy I talked about earlier.
thing. First mentioned in that guy who wrote that thing, quote, they say Typho, terrible and proud and lawless, loved this nymph with glancing eyes, and she conceived and bore fierce progeny. First, Orthos, the dogs of Geryon, and next, unspeakable Cerberus, who eats raw flesh, the bronze-voiced hound of Hades, shameless, strong, with 50 heads.
Bronze voice. He
So
must have
note
a
that
very
they
nice
said-
voice.
50 heads. There are some things that say he had 50 heads, not 3. But the majority of the
Tails.
tails,
Tails.
no pun intended, say that he had 3 heads. But this one said he had 50, which is quite a lot.
That is a lot.
This seems...
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yes. Anubis is the Egyptian counterpart of
Pretty hard
Cerberus.
to draw.
If you didn't know, Anubis is the Egyptian underworld god. who
He's
is
also dog-faced.
He's also dog-faced, so that's
He's
the thing.
jackal, isn't he?
Yeah, dogs are
It's a type of
jackals.
jackal,
They're,
yeah, okay.
they're types of
All right.
It's all related.
So my
Kind of.
first story about Cerberus involves the bastard Hercules.
The best Hercules.
Hercules is, with most people have seen the Disney version of Hercules. He was not that person. He was a horrible person. He ended up killing his family. He was like the first family annihilator, I feel like.
You mean he wasn't kind to Megara?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
Yeah, he didn't he murder his whole family,
Yeah.
including his children?
That's what I mean. Family annihilator. He
Yeah.
killed his entire family. And because of that, he had to go through 12 labors to repent,
And
basically.
were those put on by Hera?
I don't remember exactly, but the 12th labor has to do with Cerberus.
Okay.
So I know that I've read about them. I don't know all the details. Hera seems right that she
I
would.
feel like she was involved somehow because she really did not like him.
She was also
Yeah.
the goddess of the home.
That would make sense.
She was the goddess of the home. She was the goddess of fertility, and also she wasn't real happy that Zeus had Hercules with another lady.
That's fair. She was always pissed about that.
Well, she's like the goddess of jealousy, I think, too, or some shit like
May
that.
as well be.
Yeah, she was a very green woman.
There's
Anyway,
a lot of spite and
she
retribution
pretty much
in
hated
Greek mythology.
anybody that Zeus raped.
Yeah.
P.S.
Took a shine too.
Yeah.
So problematic on both parts.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, you
why don't you
raped her?
hate Zeus,
Fuck
not
that
the
bitch.
person that he
Yeah.
fucking brought into this thing? Okay,
Yeah.
anyway,
She couldn't punish him.
we could have our own little series on them, but let's not. Okay, so
We're not gonna. They're not worth our time.
no. All right,
them.
so Hercules is a bastard and he killed his entire family. So in order to make up for that, which how do you do that? He had to go through the 12 labors, and the last labor had to do with Cerberus. So I'm going to read this little snippet about that. The 12th and last labor was the most dangerous one yet. Hercules had to bring Cerberus up from Tartarus. Before descending into the underworld, Hercules had to be cleansed from his murder of the centaurs and inducted into the greater mysteries with Theseus as his sponsor. Hercules entered the underworld from near the Black Sea, with Athena and Hermes guiding him. Charon, the boatman of Hades, did not hesitate to ferry Hercules across the rivers of the underworld. As Hercules stepped out of the boat, all the souls of the dead fled, except for the Gorgon, not Gordon Ramsay, Medusa, and the Greek hero Meleager. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Meleager?
I don't know.
Hercules armed himself but was reassured that ghosts could not harm him. After freeing his friend Theseus, Hercules demanded that Hades and Persephone hand over Cerberus. Hades replied that Hercules could have him if he could overpower him without using any weapons. Hercules found Cerberus chained to the gates of Acheron and grabbed him by the throat. Poor Cerberus. Cerberus raised his 3 heads and his barbed tail as a warning, but Hercules was protected by his lion pelt and continued to apply pressure to Cerberus's throat until he weakened and yielded.
Oh, poor puppy.
Athena helped Hercules. Athena helped Hercules cross the river of Styx while he half carried a chained Cerberus.
The river of Styx, like there was just a bunch of like branches. Yeah, I know what the river of Styx
you're
is.
just making a dad joke.
Yeah, I'm just making a dad joke. Continue.
As Cerberus
Sorry,
barked with all his 3 heads and struggled against Hercules, his saliva landed on the ground and caused the poisonous aconite plant to grow.
Ah.
Hercules took Cerberus to King Eurystheus in Mycenae, where the king offered a sacrifice. Instead of providing Hercules with a sizable share of the sacrifice, he gave him a small portion and saved the best for his family. Hercules was rightly offended by this and killed Eurystheus' son.
Fuck.
After presenting
Seems
Cerberus,
pretty extreme.
I know,
right?
Hercules is a fucking dick. After presenting Cerberus to
How
King,
dare you? I'm gonna murder your son.
after,
Murder him.
after presenting Cerberus to King Eurystheus, Hercules returned him to Hades. Hercules was the only Greek hero to defeat Cerberus physically. But the reason why I'm telling this story is he actually returned Cerberus back to the underworld without killing him. I was like, hell yay!
But he
Good for
kills
you!
this guy's son just
Yeah.
cause.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, what the fuck?
I was like, I'm
It's
glad
like,
he didn't kill him.
you offended me. I'm gonna kill your son, not you. Your son.
Yes.
That's
What
rude.
the fuck?
But I'm glad that they mentioned the plant because so Cerberus had poisonous saliva, and whenever Hercules brought him up to, Earth, he drooled all over the place because he was really nervous, and he was like, "What the hell?
You're taking
know?
me to the vet,
What
aren't
the
you?
shit? Yeah, the vet or the boarding facility where I don't
Don't
want to
put
be."
on the cone of shame.
So Cerberus
It's
is
awkwardly
actually
shaped.
Cerberus is actually the one that is known to be the one that made Wolfsbane, because that's where Wolfsbane came from. Basically, that's
'Cause
the
he
legend
woofs?
for that.
Aww,
I
dumb
love
joke.
Cerberus.
So, yeah, Hercules was a dick, and like one of his like trials was like to hold the world up for Atlas for a minute.
And he couldn't even fucking do it.
No, he did it, but then like
He was all like ADHD.
Atlas
out,
is
though.
like, thanks, man. Like, I appreciate you doing that for the rest of ever. And Hercules is like, hey, I don't mind holding it up, but I got like a nose itch or whatever. Like, can you just hold it for a second again? Like, he's like, I got something to do, basically. And he's like, I'll hold it after, though.
Yeah.
And Atlas is like, oh, okay, I'll hold it again. And Hercules is like, ha, sucker! Like, fuck off.
Hercules seems like one of those Nepo
Dick.
babies
Like,
that
"You
just
big
like
dummy."
rides on the high of like, my father's Zeus.
Yeah.
I'm a
Do you
fucking
know who my
dick.
daddy is?
Yeah, exactly. Fuck that guy. He sucks. But at least he didn't kill Cerberus. I'm glad for that.
Yeah.
All right, I have one more story about Cerberus. So, did you guys know that Cerberus has a sweet tooth?
No.
He does. It's adorable. Let me tell you. Okay. Cerberus was sometimes tricked, which allowed the living to sneak past him into Hades. The nymph Psyche used honey cakes to placate the vicious dog so she could collect a box from Persephone, a task that was necessary to rescue her lover Eros. In Greek Roman mythology, the prophetess Sybil used honey cakes that had been dipped in drugged wine to put Cerberus to sleep, so the Greco-Roman hero Aeneas? Aeneas. That's not anus. Is
Wait,
it?
what?
Aeneas.
Oh. Not anus.
I was like,
Probably not.
Could enter Hades to speak to his father, Anchius.
and cheese.
And Achius!
Oh.
So basically, there's a couple stories where Cerberus was tricked into letting people inside because they gave him honey cakes.
That's cute.
Yeah, I thought that was adorable. I'm like, that's so I love Cerberus.
I mean, like, that would trick me too. So.
And then my last fun fact about Cerberus is the French naturalist Georges Cuvier named a genus of Asian snakes Cerberus in 1829. Commonly known as the dog-faced water snake, it is found across Asia and Australia. And I googled this snake, and it does look like kind of like a dog face. It's cute.
That's weird.
So that is my bit about Cerberus.
Okay.
I love that dog. If you need a home, come to me.
I love that.
I will
dog.
be your underworld.
Darling. She's like, look, I've already built it a fucking home. It's like creepy as fuck.
Yeah, I would.
It's perfect.
All right,
very
Sam.
Okay. Woo! So I chose Lamia, which in Arabic it means radiant or shining. In Latin it means vampire.
Nice.
Fun.
So she was actually a mortal woman. She was a queen of Libya. And of course, Zeus was in love with her. He just throws it around so easily and
It's not
casually.
love, it's
He's a
lust.
fucking, what's it called?
A slut.
No. What's the thing?
A
Fuck
gigolo.
boy. He's the original. He's the original fuck boy.
Original fuckboy.
Yeah.
I'm fuckboy Zeus!
Fuck boy Zeus.
Look at me. I wear
Fuck
a
you,
backward
fuck
frat
boy
hat.
Zeus.
And cargo shorts.
Oh god.
Look,
With
I'm
a
already in a
polo.
toga.
Jeez.
Sorry. Sorry, frat boys. Not really, though. Keep going.
So she was a lover of Zeus, and they ended up having babies, and Hera got mad because she always does, and she's like, you know what? I'm not gonna fuck with him. I'm gonna fuck with you.
Mm-hmm.
And she took all of Lamia's children, and she either killed them or had Lamia kill them herself. That varies.
That's fucked up.
That is very sad. Yeah.
Yes. So she was actually a daughter of Poseidon. So in her, I guess, sorrow, she basically started stealing other people's children in revenge. But her sorrow and madness had grown so great that she ended up basically turning ugly. She was supposed to be this beautiful woman, of course. It turned her ugly into this hideous person, and she started eating the children that she would steal.
Ooh.
Jesus.
Dang.
And part of the curse that Hera had done upon her was that she was never to be able to sleep. And
I wouldn't be able to sleep if I was eating Kindle all the time.
Well, so part of Zeus and his way of like helping solve or reduce her madness, I guess. I don't. This is stupid.
Do you have sex with her again?
No.
Seems like it's like
He turned her into a monster.
Of course.
Because that would definitely make me feel better.
That's like the go-to for all these gods.
you know how you're eating children.
We're gonna turn you to a monster.
Now you're a monster.
But not only that, he also allowed it to where she could remove and put in her eyeballs whenever she wanted.
Yes.
So what she does is she takes her eyes out during the day and tries to sleep during the day, and then at night she puts her eyeballs back in and then goes out and steals children and eats them.
Creepy.
Wait a minute, though. Okay.
This sounds familiar.
Do you know why it sounds familiar?
Why?
You ever seen fucking Pan's Labyrinth?
Yeah, well, the little...
Yeah. It's the pale man.
Yeah.
The thing with the eyes with the
Yeah.
little hands.
He ate children,
Yeah.
and he took his eyeballs out until he was awake.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they were in his hands.
They were in his hands, but it was
Yeah.
similar. Similar.
Probably derived from
Probably.
that, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Maybe.
I love that movie though.
was a
It's
good
beautiful.
one.
But so
Shout out to Pan's Labyrinth.
there's two different versions of what she kind of turns into. One is a shark, but the other option that you get if you don't like the shark version, you get basically a gorgon, but it's just like beautiful woman on top. She can pop in her eyes in and out, and then like serpent lower half.
That's so gross.
Yeah.
Let me just like
Pop my eyes in and out.
Right?
Yeah. I can't do that. Jeez, Amber, you're so good at that.
I practiced a lot. I can also wiggle my ears one at a time. That's a different talent
Wow.
set. Anyway, back to the story.
So she did have some children that escaped that whole ordeal.
Ooh.
One was Scylla, the sea monster. And then Achilles. Achilles. I think it's Achilles. But he was the one that challenged Aphrodite, saying that he was prettier than she was. And she was like, bitch, nah.
No one's prettier than Aphrodite.
And then she turned him into a fucking shark.
There is a
Look at you,
thing
you
going on here.
shark-faced bitch.
Yeah, she's like, who's pretty now?
I think sharks are pretty.
And then lastly, there was the daughter Heraphile, which is also supposed to be the daughter of her and Zeus. And she was the first Sibyl of Delphi. So the first oracle, essentially.
Oh.
But yeah, so the other thing that she's kind of related to is like succubus vampires and stuff, and was kind of thought to be a seducer and eater of young men who would steal their lifeblood.
She's a man-eater.
Yeah. Amber. What are your creatures / monster thing?
Guy. Okay,
Yeah.
so I ended up doing two because, so what had happened was I was not prepared today, and I did all my research today, and so I was like, Lauren, what are you doing research on? And she was like, the monster, and she was like, this one. I had all the other stuff done. And I was like, well, do you know what Sam's doing? She's like, I don't remember. And I was like, I'll pick two. That way I'm
Just in
covered.
case.
Sam always picks the weirdest things she can find.
Yeah,
That's why I
which
said, I was
appreciate.
like, shit, Sam's gonna do something dark. Just,
Yeah.
you're fine.
So I picked two monsters that are like half people, half something else. So they kind of go together. So I chose the sirens and the harpies, and then I have like a little side adventure to go on too because I like it. Okay, so the harpies were like wind spirits basically, and they had the head of a woman and the body of a bird, and they were under the command of Zeus to snatch people and objects from the earth. They would also snatch evil doers and deliver them to Erinyes. who was the goddess of revenge and retribution. And how none of us found that bitch in our research is beyond me, because she sounds like a badass. I would have loved to have done that if I'd have found her before late research. Anyway. And then, so when people went missing, it was usually attributed to the harpies. So, like, like, my imagination of, like, Greece at this time was like, you know, I haven't seen Bob in a while. Yeah, probably the harpies got him. Like, it's fine. Or, like, but it's really, like, it's Bob's boss, and they're like, yeah, I actually buried him in the backyard. But yeah, the harpies probably got him.
Or you didn't want to, you, like, said you were going to go to a little party, and you said you didn't want to go. You're like, sorry, I got carried off by the harpies.
Yeah, I can't go. The harpies are coming
after me. They brought me back, but, like, I couldn't go because I got carried off by the harpies.
Did you guys fucking know that I was carried off by the harpies last night? They brought me back. But yeah, it's fine.
I fought them off the stick.
Yeah. It's like the perfect, like, introvert excuse. Yep. Like, I know.
I'm gonna start using that.
Sorry, I'm really busy.
I was carried away by the harpies.
I got carried away by the harpies.
Okay.
I love it.
Also,
everyone's gonna be like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" Not that they aren't already like that, but they're gonna be like, "Okay."
Now we're really worried about you.
All right.
All right. So the sirens were the daughter of the river god Hecate. And maybe that person that you talked about earlier.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I think
Achelous.
Somewhat associated with Poseidon somehow, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because rivers. Streams,
okay.
you know.
Yeah. All right.
Don't go chasing waterfowl.
Anyway, they were the daughters of the river god Hecate. They were feared by sailors. They had the face and torso of a beautiful woman, and then their bottom halves were the fish. So guess what they were? Yeah,
mermaids.
They were fucking mermaids. So their song would cause sailors to forget home and lure them to leap into the sea and drown. Very dramatic. So
sexy.
Yeah. So Odysseus wanted to hear their song, and so he had his men tie him to the mast, and then he had them all, like, plug their ears with wax so that he could actually hear it. So, like, he is one of the only, like, people who ever heard their song and survived, which is cool. And supposedly...
That's kind of rude, though. Like,
yeah.
You don't get to take turns?
Yeah. So some accounts say that the sirens drowned themselves after failing to seduce him, which, by the way, I'm like, how did that work? But okay. And then
how does that work if they are a seafaring creature?
And then my man Orpheus, who's, like, my favorite, but maybe he wouldn't be if I did more research. I'd probably be like, fuck him. But the story I know about him, I'm like, oh, Orpheus.
It is a sweet story.
He's so sweet.
Sad story.
It's so sad. And I'm going to tell his story too.
Yeah, do it.
I love it. So he was able to drown out their song with his own music. So Orpheus was, I think, the son of Zeus. He was the son of a god. If I remember right.
He's a son of a god.
Son of a god.
He was a son of a god.
He was a son of a god.
Yeah. And he was able to charm everyone with his music, like, to the extent that supposedly animals, people, rocks, trees would just, like, come and, like, jam out to his music. Like, the rocks would come and, like, sway their little rock hips.
They just roll up.
Just imagining that is super cute, actually.
I know.
I'm actually imagining the rock giant from Neverending Story.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Neverending Story.
So I think he was, like, in the Odyssey. He was on, like, he was an Argonaut, maybe. I think he was an Argonaut. Anyway, when their ship came back, he fell in love with Eurydice, and they got married, and he was super in love with her. And then she stepped on a snake and died.
All right.
And he was absolutely heartbroken.
Okay, but did it bite her, or did she just step?
No,
on
she
it?
like it bit her.
Okay.
Yeah, she died from a snake bite.
She died. Save the Foz.
She tripped on a snake. Anyway,
that's what I was saying. You just step on it, and you're like, oops.
She got clotheslined by a snake.
And she fucking died.
Sorry.
Poor snake.
Poor Eurydice. All right. So, so he went to the underworld to bring her back. And he played his little music for Persephone and rapist. What's his name?
Hades.
Hades, thank you. Rapist.
I was like, there's which one?
Which one?
Yeah, which one? Yeah.
There are multiple.
The underworld rapist.
Which one?
Okay.
Marilyn Manson? No.
Oh my god.
All right.
Terrible.
Let's move on.
All right, back on. Okay, so he went to the underworld to bring her back, and he was told by Persephone and Hades, who were so moved by his music, that he could take her back, but neither was allowed to look back during the trip back.
Oh no, here we go.
And so he got to the opening to the land of the living, and he saw the sun, and he turned to share his joy with Eurydice, and she disappeared forever.
Because he looked back.
Because he looked back.
But if he hadn't looked back.
Just pull that bitch up right next to you, girl.
I know. It's so sad for me. So, it's sad for everybody. but like, it's one of those stories where it's like, unfortunately, like, it doesn't matter how much we love somebody. The dead are the dead. They belong in the world of the dead, wherever that is. Anyway, so I've had a lot of wine, my friends. I am not supposed to.
Yeah, well, no.
I've almost drank this whole bottle. I will by the end of tonight.
All right.
So anyway.
I'm going to take a break to go pee again, and then we'll go to the movie adaptation.
Oh,
things.
yeah.
All right. We are back, and we are here for the media movie adaptation of Greek mythology. My air conditioning just kicked on.
Oh, it sounded like thunder at first.
Yeah, you looked very worried. That was my air conditioning.
I was like, what is happening? Zeus is mad.
Zeus is mad.
He's like, how dare you call me a rapist when I am?
Been talking about me and my brothers and how douchebaggy we all are.
How dare you tell the truth?
Fuck you.
Fuck you, Zeus. All right. So, being a millennial, you know, we're very well aware of the Disney Hercules, which, yes, that's a beloved movie. I love that movie. But I did not want to do that movie because it's not accurate.
Not even a little.
And going back to...
And Hercules is an asshole.
Hercules is a fucking asshole.
Not an adorable little thing.
And that's one of the best... I mean, there's a lot that I loved about Mrs. Storm's Greek mythology class. But one thing was, like, she had us watch that movie and was like, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Like, everything about that movie is basically wrong.
But, you know, Michael Bolton, man.
All right, so I did not do that movie. Because I was like, nah. I love it, but nah.
Enough.
So, I'm going to go in the, not way back machine, but the way back machine till, like, the 70s. Because I feel like we all kind of had to watch one or two of these movies in high school. Clash of the Titans.
Which was good.
Or Jason and the Argonauts.
Which was bad.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't say bad, but like Jason and the Argonauts came before Clash of the Titans.
Which
But
was not my favorite, and I fell asleep during.
the reason why, you know, I had only, I think, seen Jason and the Argonauts, and the reason why I wanted to do that is not because of the movie, but because of the stop motion person that
Lauren's in love
created
with.
everything. I had a group message where I'm like, I'm going to do a deep dive on Ray Harryhausen. They're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I was like, I don't know what this
fucking
is.
Amazing.
But I know it's
Awesome.
the Skeleton Man.
He's great. So he was the chief animator on both of these movies that are about Greek mythology. So I'm going to do a little biography on Ray Harryhausen, and then we're going to talk about Jason and the Argonauts and Clash of the Titans. Okay?
You're going to have to remind me which is which sometimes, I think.
I know. That's fine. It's okay.
Okay.
So, Ray Harryhausen, actually the reason why I found out about Ray Harryhausen is because there is a documentary, a 2011 documentary that came out called Ray Harryhausen Special Effects Titan. And I remember watching it. I don't know where I found it because at that time I was in fucking college. I don't know how I found it, but I was like blown away. I was like, this fucking guy's fucking amazing. So I tried to watch that again, but you have to watch it on YouTube with a prescription or
Subscription?
yes, that thing.
Your doctor doesn't have to say you can take this.
A prescription.
You do
And I
not.
I
Doesn't
didn't.
have to have an order from your doctor.
I did not have health insurance for that prescription, so I did not pay for it. So I was like, fuck, I really want to watch that, but I couldn't find it. So what I watched instead on YouTube without a prescription was The Harryhausen Chronicles, narrated by Leonard Nimoy. So I knew it was going to be great. I was like, okay, this is going to be good. This was from 1988. And it was basically like an hour-long documentary about Ray Harryhausen. What?
I love
I
you.
feel like that would be a really great thing to fall asleep to.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's literally just like 58 minutes.
Jason the
And
Argonauts
it's in
was.
SD. It's not even HD because it was 1988. Like, I just watched it and drank wine. I was like, this is great. I love this.
I just feel like Leonard Nimoy would have just a soothing voice, and he would just
He
cradle
did.
you off to sleep.
And just the way, it was kind of like a PBS documentary style thing.
Definitely.
So, shout out to Ray Harryhausen.
And
Or,
Leonard
no,
Nimoy.
the Harryhausen Chronicles and Ray Harryhausen special effects type. Anyway, so
R.I.P.
Ray Harryhausen was born June 29th, 1920, and as a young kid, he watched King Kong in theaters, and he was inspired by King Kong. He's
like the
"I
one
wanna-"
with Fay Ray.
Yes.
The original.
The original. And so he
Good one.
started kind of like doing some little project on his own, and it's really cute because he talks about how his parents were very supportive of him, and
Aw.
they helped him with things. Like his mom made all the costumes for all the characters, and his dad helped with the carpentry of the sets and everything, which I think is really cute.
It's a family affair.
That's so nice.
I know, they're very supportive of
They're like,
him.
look at you, son. Go into the arts.
It's like, I don't know what you're doing, but you're good. You got
We
this.
love you.
Yep.
Good for them.
So
That's a
he
happy
did.
story.
He throwback to Grimm's fairy tales. He actually did his first project. I don't think he got paid very well, but his first project was a fairy tale series where he did these very rudimentary, probably like 5-minute stories about, Hansel and Gretel or something, I don't even know if they're even streaming or anything. They're very rare, but they were in that documentary if you want to see some clips of them.
That's cool.
And then in 1949, he worked on Mighty Joe Young, which might sound familiar to us because they did a remake of it.
Yeah.
In 1998, Charlize Theron stars in it.
Was that like a thing with like a gorilla?
Yes.
Yes.
She talks to like the gorilla like with sign language?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It was like a million years ago for me, so
Yeah.
But I remember that very vaguely. It's
So
cool.
there's an original movie that came out in 1949. He helped on that, and then he actually was a consultant, like a special effects consultant on the 1998 version that we're familiar with.
How old was he?
So he was born in 1920.
Damn,
Yeah.
Harryhausen, you
Mhm.
old.
He's got a lot of I feel like special effects people kind of have the voiceover artist demographic where they're like in 50 fucking thousand things because they are just
Yeah.
behind the scenes, but they have so much talent, and that's why I respect them even more.
Yeah.
Because like people don't realize that's who they are. That's
So-
who's creating that creature. That's who's doing that voiceover.
That's so
you know?
cool.
Yeah, I love
That's
him.
cool.
I'm telling you guys. Okay. So
You can tell.
then
We're hearing it.
She's passionate.
he did 1953's Beast from a Thousand Phantoms, which was based off of Ray Bradbury's short story, and they ended up being really close friends.
Aw.
Ray and Ray became really best friends.
That's cute.
And Bradbury actually presented Harryhausen with an Oscar in 1992, and this documentary shows that, and they got choked up about it. Like, you could tell how close their relationship was, and they're nerds, and it's so cute.
Aw.
I'm telling you, it's really wholesome. All right.
She's telling us.
I'm telling you.
I think she's told us about 5 times. I love it.
So
telling
then,
you.
So here we go. We're going down the list. There's a lot of movies he's been working on, right? 1958, The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. So, you know how there's some skeleton battles in some of the movies we watched?
That's like what he's known for, right?
This is what he's known. He loves doing skeleton stuff. This is the first one that he did. Stop laughing at me.
I'm not laughing at you.
Yes, you are.
He loves doing skeleton
He
stuff.
does. This is the first iconic skeleton fighting scene.
Love
This was also his first really big hit, and it was also the first one in color. 1958.
Wow.
Yeah. And then after that,
It's weird to
he
think
did
about.
2 other Sinbad movies in 1973 and 1977. Did not watch those. One's called The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, and the other one's Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. Did not watch those. Okay.
Huh.
1964. H.G. Wells movie adaptation of First Men in the Moon. 1966. What? You have something to say?
No,
Oh.
we both
We
just went,
hummed at the same time.
Okay.
We made the same sound. Like
I've never
interesting.
seen that movie, but I have the poster in my bedroom. Because I'm a nerd. Okay.
She's like, it says Harryhausen on it. I'm in love. I will
Alright.
hang it upon my wall.
Hang it up on my wall forever. All right, 1966, he worked on 1 million years BC. Let's get to Jason and the Argonauts.
Mm-hmm.
This one has a 7.3 out of 10 stars on IMDb.
I don't know how, because I napped through that whole thing, guys.
This came out in 1963, which for the time, if you think about, like, yeah, whenever I said I'm going to do these movies, I was like, it's going to be a boring movie, but I wanted to see it for the stop motion. The stop motion scenes were fucking phenomenal.
First off,
I love the Titan one.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
statue, that was fun.
Yes.
that one was actually good, and it was very exciting. But Jason and the Argonauts was a fucking snore.
Amber literally fell asleep during it.
Yes, I did. And the whole plot line seemed to be, we're going to take a ship and get this golden fleece. Ta-da, we got the golden fleece. Oh no, a betrayal of some kind. The end.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're all like, oh, that's the ending? Okay.
All right.
But we're also like, thank God, because that was like a 2-hour movie.
And I was
Yeah,
like, that was a real
yeah.
snore, guys. And you were like, yeah, we could hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I was like, ah?
Oh no, I spilled.
Oh, you spilled?
I am also, what did she say earlier?
I'm damn.
I am damp.
So I have a couple scenes I want to break down for you. The Hydra scene was very complicated because if you think about it, there's like multiple heads that are going in different ways at the same time in the whole body.
That's
So
cool.
he talked about how hard that scene was because just to get it specifically right, took for fucking ever.
Yeah,
can
because you had to
imagine.
like move all of the different pieces, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's
Yeah.
like
Shot
move, stop,
by
move,
shot.
stop, move, stop, move, stop.
Yep, shot by shot, shot
That'd
by
be
shot.
so boring.
Yeah. So back to the skeletons. You know the skeleton fight scene where it was like like 7 skeletons and 3 men that were fighting each other?
Mm-hmm. That would have been hard.
Guess how long that took for him to make?
Like 20 weeks. Forever.
How
A
much
lifetime.
How much is 20 weeks?
Listen. It's over 6 months, isn't it?
Oh, 4.5 months. It took him 4.5 months to complete,
That's close.
and it lasted 3 minutes.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. I would not be able to do that job. I'm not patient enough. Like,
Can
good
you
for
imagine
him.
being the actors?
He had to have been. Oh, God.
But not even the actors. No, because the actors are doing it separately on their
okay.
own. The stop motion is a different thing.
Okay.
They film the actors in a different way with other people, then they take the people out and then they film the stop motion.
Okay.
They
I
could
was
do
just
that
like-
then?
So the
Wow.
actors are not having to do half that work.
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh. But, like, imagine the OCD you have to have for that job.
Raising my hand right here.
Yeah. I mean,
the
like,
crowd and glow.
it's a craft and it's beautiful. Like, that
Yeah.
stuff's awesome. Like, stop motion is
Well, that's
super
why.
cool.
That's what I'm talking about because I don't think people get enough credit. Like seriously,
No.
you watch that, you're like, oh, especially now, you're like, oh, special effects, and special effects does take a long time, but this is literally stop motion. It takes for fucking ever,
Yeah.
and you gotta appreciate that shit,
It's super cool.
especially when it looks good. So another thing about that skeleton scene. There was a shot that they had to cut out because it was too quote unquote morbid, where a skeleton got his head cut off and he was like searching around for it. And they had to cut it out.
I would.
I think I've seen the cut of that.
Because they had a PG rating, so they were like, you gotta take that shit out. And he's like, motherfucker.
I think I've seen the clip, though,
He's like,
Yeah.
I was trying to be
where they were
fine.
like, okay,
Yeah.
we'll, like, have the clip. Now that would be, like, fine.
Yeah.
That would
It'd be hilarious.
That's so
Yeah.
funny.
All right, now we're going to fast forward to 1981, Clash of the Titans. This one is the one you guys... I had never seen this one before, but you guys
I
had
had seen
before.
it, and
Yeah.
I liked it
Yeah.
then, and I like it now still. I mean, it's not, like, as good as it probably was when I was in high school, because it was a teeny bopper, but, you know,
Yeah,
it was still
that's
cool.
okay.
It was still good.
This was actually his last film that he did stop motion-wise.
Mm-hmm.
It has 6.9 out of 10 stars on IMDb.
It
that
got
has less?
It got less, yeah.
Fucking hell.
But think about it. Like, this
Pardon my French, but what the fuck?
So what made you guys like this movie more? Like, what was your favorite
Plotline
parts
was
about this?
better, by far. By far.
The owl.
The
I
owl was
loved
so cute.
Bubo.
The owl was so
Yeah.
great.
They had like a C3PO owl named Bubo. Or
I-
R2D2 owl, I guess.
Want to freaking tattoo it on my body now.
Yes, you mentioned that. Yeah, that would
She
be a
did.
cute tattoo.
It
Just
was
looking to get it.
so cute. I love owls anyway, but like it's so fucking adorable.
Yes. Okay. But the main reason I wanted to watch this one, because I've never seen it before, I wanted to watch the Medusa scene.
The Medusa scene was pretty cool.
Because I had seen clips, but I hadn't seen the whole scene. And that is a very complicated scene, too. Because think about it. She's in a fucking cave.
Mm-hmm.
There's, like, fake fire flames going on.
Mm-hmm.
But they look real. All that shit is stop motion.
Really?
All that shit is stop motion.
The fire is?
All of that lighting and everything, that whole, whenever she's in the scene, that whole cave scene is fucking stop motion.
That's insane.
That's nuts. I did not know that.
Yes.
Like, I just figured it was her that was stop motion because, like, that would have been complicated too. That makes
Enough.
sense,
Because
though,
you got the snake
because you
heads.
have to move everything at the same time.
All of it.
Okay.
All the lighting was made up. Everything was made up.
crazy.
That's fucking insane.
It is.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, she had all those different snakes, so they all had to
Mhm.
move separately and all that
Mhm.
shit. I mean, like, so, like, by today's standards, it looks hella lame. But, like,
I still don't
realistically,
think so, though.
I still
Like,
think
if
it
you think
looks
of
awesome.
what it is, if you think of what it is, it does not look
it
hella
looks like
lame.
art.
Yeah.
Especially
'Cause it
when it's
is.
to that degree
Mhm.
where every little thing is.
I've seen
part of it.
CGI that's shit.
Oh my
Yeah.
compared
god.
to that. Like,
Yeah.
We've all seen Spider-Man. Come on. The orig.
the last fun fact about Clash of the Titans is, I don't know if you guys noticed, and I noticed it, but then I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I was reading, like, fun facts on IMDb. The closing credits, do you guys see anything weird about the closing credits?
I don't think I paid attention.
I did
Okay.
not.
So the cast was divided into 3 categories: the immortals, the mortals, and the mythologicals.
That's
So they
weird.
went from, like, these are the people who played the gods, these are the people who play the humans, and then these who were the things that were the monsters. But the monsters got their own credit. So Bubo, Charon, Dioskilos, Kraken, Medusa, Pegasus, and the Scorpions and the Vulture all got credits by themselves.
That's
Aw.
pretty cool.
The
So I
nipple
thought that was
Kraken.
kind of cute.
That's super cool.
All right, so yeah, the last thing I have to say is Ray Harryhausen passed away May 7th, 2013. So R.I.P. Ray
Aw.
Harryhausen.
How
We
old
fucking
was
love
he?
you. He was old because he was born in 1920.
So he was 93?
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
Listen to me doing math right, guys.
Good job.
Everybody applaud because I'm not good at
job.
it. And I'm drunk right now, so.
But yeah,
Double
I know I
points.
did more of an old man deep dive into movies this week, but I was like, you know what?
He's worth it.
I'm gonna do it.
Lauren's like, he's worth it.
I have a little. He's not attractive, but I have a crush on his
a
capabilities.
professional
I
crush.
get it.
Yes. All right, and with that concludes our second teenysode and 8th, I think, episode of Liquor and Literature. So
Record recording time.
yeah, we did this really fast, guys. Maybe it's because we didn't prepare as much, and that's okay.
Maybe that's the key. Read the book the same day.
Maybe we're overwhelmed and
Don't do
stressed
that.
out.
I've been
but
telling you
that's
guys
okay.
all along.
Sam comes like every episode. She's like, I just finished today.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, I finished it 3 weeks ago and I don't remember anything.
I'm like, see, now I remember things.
Yeah. So until next time. Until
Norman
next
is
time, guys.
licking me.
What's our theme?
Keep the pages turning
And
and the
drinks
drinks
flowing.
flowing.
Bam! Audio engineering, logo creation, and social media content was produced by Lauren Rainey with Rainey Film and Video. Stock music tracks have been provided by Motion Array and Adobe Stock. Find us on Facebook and Instagram at Liquor Literature Podcast, where you can dive into more details about the books, authors, and movies we cover. You can find all of our episodes at liquorliteraturepodcast.podbean.com. Until next time, keep the pages turning and the drinks flowing. Okay, and we're what? Your finger got up.
What?
Fuck.
No, that wasn't a mean thing.
Amber's in trouble.